Today we're trying a bunch of new releases from K-Beauty for this spring season. We have the very famous mist from the brand Dalba. I think this blue one is new, right? I see these two previously, but I have never seen this one. And we also have all of these cute lip pods for today. This pudding looking one is from Daisique and this oval one is from Hince. I think these are the newest addition glowy lip pods to the market. Like these just launched. So if you're interested, you could stay tuned for this. I do have like chapters for almost every single video. And we also have this palette from the brand Wonjungyo, which, if you don't know, she is the makeup artist for the girl band Twice, and I do like a lot of her products. This brand is more popular in Japan than in Korea for some reason. Probably because the makeup, the items is geared towards Japanese audience in a way. And these are not the new spring launch, but this is the newest color to this little line. I think they probably put this out like the last season, and I really like this color story. And we also have the newest, just updated version of the rom&nd Juicy Lasting Tint. You know, their most well-known formulation got a reformulation. So if you're interested in the new one compared to the old formulation, you could see it in the end. And I do have the shade, the most popular shade, Bare Grape, in both of the formulation. And I did do a comparison. So without too much talking, let's just get started. I think we can start with these pods. I think these are all multi-purpose pods, like from Daisique, Chewing Glow pods, and the Hince Glow something pod is all Korean, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put the name down below. And we also have a cream blush palette from Daisique. I think this shade is new. I have the shade 19, Milky Berry. So I think it's probably better to try these on my face, and then, you know, I can take them off because I now only have foundation on. And then we'll decide which one to actually use for today after showing you each of them. So let's start with this Daisique one. I actually did an unboxing haul for a lot, like most of the products for today. And you can already see in that video, these pods have different textures. This one is a balm. It's a very melty balm, but it's like a hard one. But this one is very, very soft. It's like you can easily take a chunk out of it. And they also have a little spatula in the lid. Like you can, you know, put it back in the lid so you don't lose it, which is very good. But I personally don't think this is very good for application. Like it's so small. I think it just serves a purpose mostly for just like scraping the product out. It's the shade 07. Dusty pink shade. Well, not like so dusty, but a little bit. I feel like it look more bright on the camera than in real life. Today's lighting is actually very, very good. It's very cloudy outside, which I find to be the best lighting. I personally think this lighting looks the most comfortable to the eyes, and I feel like it shows the color pretty well as well. On the lips, it feels very lightweight and like a jelly. This is a more of a jelly based formula, and it's pretty sheer. Actually, I don't think it's very easy to get the full pigment, same as what you see in the pot. But at the same time, it's not like it doesn't have any color. I think it's just a normal pigmentation level lip gloss. To be honest, I feel like there's nothing too special about this on the lips. On the cheeks, it's pretty. it's a pretty color and it's a pretty finish. It has this like soft glowy finish to it. The shade melts pretty well into my skin, but again, I don't particularly think this is a groundbreaking formula. I think they just tested this on the face and it's safe to use on the face, and it's not particularly formulated for the cheeks, if that makes sense, because it just feels like you're applying lip product on your cheeks. Now let's try the other shade, 17. And this one is more pink, even more vibrant. And another thing I noticed is you do use a lot. Previously, I did 2 scoops from the pot, and I pretty much used all of them up. This is the shade 17. Let's see how far this heavy swatch can get us. It's visibly more pigmented than the other one, probably because the shade itself is more like intense of a shade and it's more vibrant, therefore it shows better. That's just the nature of, you know, color theory. And on the face, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but it did came off as like chunks initially on your cheeks. That's why I say I don't think these are particularly formulated for like multi-usage. But the thing is, it does blend well in the end, so I guess that doesn't really matter. And I do like this shade. But again, I don't feel like particularly like special about these, and they feel a little bit sticky on the skin. So if you have very long hair, I think your hair is gonna stuck on your cheeks if you use this with no powder on top. Okay, starting over with the Hince one. Now first, let's try the shade 05 Hug Dew. And again, like I mentioned before, these are a harder balm formula. It's very melty, but it's hard. Like you couldn't easily take a chunk out of this pot. Here is the swatch. Because you cannot take a chunk out, you're gonna see this swatch like very sheerly. You know, 3-layer and it's this level. And now let's try on our face. On the lips, I feel like this is more of a oil-based formula. It feels like a lip oil in pot, and it's pretty sheer. But I do really like the finish. It's very shiny, probably because it feels more like a oil based. And on the face, it doesn't really have much pigmentation, but I did get a very pretty glossy finish, and I do like this finish a lot. And let's try the other shade, 08 Fig Rain. More of a cooler toned burgundy type of shade, I think. See the difference? And it's very shiny. On the lips, I think it mostly just look like a sheer pink, which actually is very pretty and I don't mind this shade. It looks pretty cute. And it's again that oil-based, pretty clear pigmentation, and it's pretty dewy. And on the cheeks, again and again, it doesn't really have that much pigmentation, but it's very glossy, and I do like the finish. How it feels when you touch it is even more sticky than the other one. So if you have long hair, I think this one is definitely gonna get your hair stuck on your cheeks. I don't know if you can tell. Like I feel like if I do this, the skin on the surface of my face want to leave with my hand. It's like actually very sticky. So again, I don't feel like this formula is formulated specifically for the cheeks as well. I think again they just tested the formula, it's safe to use everywhere, and they just say it's multi-usage, but it's actually just a lip formula. It's very sticky on the cheeks. Before we apply foundation for the 3rd time, let's try these facial mist. These are all from the brand Dalba. The yellow one is the one that's the most well known, And maybe some people also know the pink or the red one. And this blue one I have never seen, so I think this is a new one. This one says it's first spray and it's for hydration. This one is a refreshing serum. It's a cooling solution, so I guess for the summer. And this one is for relaxing. So I guess they are all like skincare. I'm gonna use this right now for the hydration. And we can use this to see does it like work well on top of makeup. Maybe it's not intended for that, but it says refreshing. I'm gonna see, can I refresh on top of makeup? The sprayer is fine. It's not the best that I have ever seen, but it's not the worst. And it does have this powdery floral smell. Like I feel like some hairspray has this smell. Like if you know what I mean, the sweet powdery smell. It's not offensive because it's very faint. It does feel pretty moisturized. Okay, now it feels a little bit sticky, so I think it is ready. Let's apply the foundation for the third time. I'm trying to use this up. Okay, the foundation applied pretty nicely, I want to say. It's good to use under your makeup. And now let's try this one. The Daisique Blush Blending Mood Cheek, the shade 19 Milky Berry. Pretty much an ombre of the same shade of pink. I'm gonna take this one first. And I'm gonna focus on the inner portion of my cheeks. Oh, it's pretty pigmented actually. I'm placing on this area, but I'm blending towards my under eye, so it also acts like a brightening type of thing. I normally would not use this shade on its own because it's on the lighter side. I prefer my blush to give me a little bit more color, but it's not like in the level of being too light, so I definitely could not use this as blush. I could. It's pretty nice, pretty nice. And I'm gonna use what's under the shade. And I'm pretty sure I need to tap off this shade a little bit. It's pretty pigmented. And on the outer perimeter, oh, I like this shade. Actually, I probably didn't need to tap it off. It's not as scary as I thought. It really is just a tiny little bit more vibrant than the previous shade. And they didn't seem to be performing weird in any way. They blend very well. So let's do the other cheek, starting with this shade. It's a little bit lighter than the other one. And again, we're blending towards the under eye area. I feel like the other lighter shade is leaning more on the lavender side, like more cooler, but this one is slightly warmer. But in the pan, you're gonna think this shade is lighter, right? Like it looks lighter, but on the cheeks, it just feels like a little bit more pink here. It doesn't feel like it's more pale. Okay, I do like this. And let's use the shade under it. Oh, this shade is pretty pigmented. And it actually doesn't really have that much depth. And it looks more lavender than I thought. But it's still workable for my skin tone. I did like this. Do I need all 4 shades of this big palette? I probably don't. Probably 2, like a duo, would just be like enough because again, can you tell that I'm wearing different blushes? If I don't tell you, you probably wouldn't notice, right? So the 4 shades is not necessary, but I do like this palette. The formula is very creamy and it's pretty pigmented, like considering this type of product it is. It's nowhere near like Rare Beauty liquid blush level of pigmentation, but it's not bad. To be honest, I do have this impression, this brand Daisique, they pretty much just put out cute stuff and their product is like normally just average. I feel like that for majority of their products, but I do like this blush palette. Even though it's very cool toned, but I think it worked well on my light medium warm olive skin tone. Let's now set my face. Okay, it's pretty much set. Let's try this next. And to my surprise, actually, I thought this colored part gonna have like way larger portion, but every single one of them just has like a very small portion of that. Oh, this one smells way more like refreshing. It almost smells like the sea. Like if a cologne or a perfume is trying to represent the ocean, it pretty much gonna smell like this type of smell. And a lot of times, if you're gonna use a skincare spray on top of makeup, it sometimes melts down the makeup. And let's see, does that happen? Yeah, actually, it did happen. So I guess you should not use that on top of makeup. It's purely for skincare. So don't do what I just did, a tiny little bit more powder. So what are they talking about when they are saying refresh? So you can only use that on bare skin. You couldn't use that on top of makeup. There are people outside, like out there, don't wear makeup, but also I feel like you are losing a good chunk of customer if this thing is only gonna refresh you when you are not wearing makeup, you know what I mean? Okay, the next thing probably is not very exciting for a lot of people because I don't think this brand has a lot of recognition like in the Western beauty community, but this is brand Wonjungyo, Twice's makeup artist brand. This is actually not a spring launch. I think they launched this in the winter, but this is the newest addition to their this line. Daily Mood Up palette. This is the shade 04. It's this very rosy color story. Isn't this color story very pretty? And it's more pigmented than normal K-beauty eyeshadows, which I also like because sometimes K-beauty eyeshadows, they are too sheer. Even for me, I like a sheer eyeshadow, but they are too sheer. But this one, I think it's sheer, but it's still like it's meaningful to apply them at least. I'm thinking to apply this shade all over my eyelid. Yeah, pretty shade. Okay, then the darker rosy shade on a slightly smaller area than what we just applied the last shade, but pretty much the same area. Oh, I like this shade as well. It blends so well, this formula. And I think this shade do look well against my light medium olive skin tone. And this shade is sold out on so many places. It's actually pretty hard to find. And this brand is so popular in Japan as well. This shade, I think. And let's see how much pigmentation it has. Oh, not much. I think this is just the same depth as this one. So maybe if you want it to be more like on the brown side, you use this shade. So now let's use the darker shade. Not as eyeliner, but almost. You know, give the eyes some dimension. And these formulation almost feel like cream. It's like slightly creamy powder type of thing. Kind of do a little bit liner with this shade as well. Okay, now let's use these shimmer and glitters. This lower one, it's a shimmer. And let's apply at the center. It's a nice shimmer shade. It's not like very pigmented or anything, but it shows up. It does shows up. And let's put the glitter at the very center. Okay, nice. It's a nice everyday palette, I would say. Last, let's use this powder. We have so much blush on today. And this blush is very pigmented. One thing about these palettes, the blush always shows more on your cheeks. The one I previously have, the blush doesn't even look like something is gonna show up on my skin, but it actually shows up pretty like well. I really like these palettes, even though I feel like I apply a little bit too much on this cheek. The next one, let's use a balm highlight. Actually, this is not like something very new to this season as well, but I see this somewhere and it seems like pleasing. And I want to try more balm highlights. This is from the brand Glint. I don't know if this brand has a lot of recognition in Western beauty community. This probably is more of a niche brand in that sense. But I heard a lot of buzz from them. And I recently heard this one's good, so it feels like a nice balm highlight. It doesn't make my foundation with powder look weird underneath it, and it doesn't feel like super sticky like the Hince, how the Hince one feels, the Hince pods. And it's pretty clear. This shade should have some like cool toned blue shift to it, but it's so faint that you can barely see it. I probably forgot to tell you the name. Stick highlighter in the shade 02, Milky Moon. So in the last, I think, we do have something that I'm very excited about. The Juicy Lasting Tint from rom&nd. They got a reformulation. Today I want to compare the old formulation with the new one, and we also have a matching shade, the shade Bare Grape, the most popular shade from this line, and I have them in both formulas, the old formula, the new formula. Before we talk about the formula, the doe foot applicator is different. I way prefer this old one because it holds way more product. The new one, you have to dip a couple times to get a fair amount of product. Like this is one dip and this is two, and it still looks like there's less product, right? So let's apply this on my lips. This is the old formula. It's a pretty nice rosy shade. And now let's apply the new one. Okay, I think even on the camera you could tell the new one is sheerer. It doesn't look as pigmented as the old one. It's more of a watery formula compared to the old one. The old one is a more gel formulation. Even on the hand swatch, I think you can tell this one looks way more smooth because it's a watery base. And the old one, because it's a gel, it looks like kind of uneven at a certain level, right? And I do think the new one has less color to it. Like you still could tell, right? This one looks visibly more sheer. Finish is actually pretty close. Both are like kind of like shiny formula. You could wait for the film firmer to work to get a slightly more glossy lip, but I would personally say these are never like the most glossy finish ever, but it's on the glossier side. Let's take off and see the tint. I think the tint look pretty much the same, right? It's just the body of this formulation is different. Yeah, I still feel like the old one has more color. So unfortunately, I personally prefer the old formula. What about you? Did you try the new formulation? And even after like a big swipe, I still think the old one left a little bit more color. But I think there could be some people prefer the new formulation because it's thinner, and some people want like more thinner formulation on their lips. Another shade called Nucademia. This is also an existing shade in their previous formulation, but I have never tried this one. This one is way more nudie brown, and even with my small little lip, I have to take multiple dips. So if you have those very big plushy lips, you probably need to take even more dips. I hate something like that, like when it comes to lip product. I would prefer like you just have a doe foot applicator that could give me enough with just one dip. This is the shade Nucademia, which to be honest, I do like the shade, but I don't think this shade works very well with this makeup. So let's change back to the Bare Grape shade. Let's use the new formula. 4 dips for my small little lip. So imagine if you have like thicker lips, how many dips you would need. But the formulation itself is not bad. So let's do a round up. First of all, these lip pods, maybe I'm being too harsh on them. One phrase for these type of pods, I would say cute but not necessary. They are just lip glosses in a cute pot. I'm not regretting to buy these pods because they do look very, very pretty, but at the same time, why not just use a gloss in a tube normally? They're not special. They say you could use this on your cheeks and stuff, but also you can use your gloss on your cheeks. You can use your free will for that as well. And as I mentioned, it's not like they particularly formulated these to be suitable for the cheeks. It's just probably just safe to use on the cheeks. And that's all. They are very sticky. I have short hair, so I wouldn't mind normally. But it still is not a pleasant feel on the cheeks to have like a very sticky cheeks, like to stuck everything in your or on your cheeks, right? So for me, these are not my preferred formulation, but they are cute. They are for sure very cute. And if I would choose one from these, I would choose the Hince one because at least I like this finish on my lips because they are way more glossy than the Daisique one. The Daisique one is very, very mid. It's not even glossy enough for me. This blush palette, I really, really liked it. It's on the pigmented side cream blush when it comes to cream blush because cream blushes are pretty sheer most of the time. These at least have a decent amount of pigmentation and they blend very well actually. And I do like these shades against my skin tone, my warm olive skin tone, which a lot of times these type of very cool tone pink tend to look weird on my skin, but this one does not. Wonjungyo palette, absolutely love it. This is such a great palette for the daily usage. I like the formula. It's very creamy, easy to blend, not patchy at all. Like if it's a foundation, it's gonna be sheer to light medium coverage buildable type of thing. Like it's like a pigmented tinted moisturizer, you know what I mean? And it's not too sheer, what I want to say is, but it's also not easy to feel like you apply too much color. It's very easy to control and everything works very well, and I love the color story. I'm glad that I bought this. These things, great as skincare stuff, but I would say definitely don't use over makeup. They're gonna melt down your makeup. Like I mentioned, if you're gonna say refresh on the bottle, maybe make them work on top of makeup. For lips, right? I prefer the old formula. Like I mentioned, it's a tiny little bit more pigmented, and I feel like the doe foot applicator bring out enough product for one usage, so I don't have to dip back a million times like what I need to do with the new formulation. But that is not to say the new formulation is bad. It's a pretty nice thin texture, like a little bit more on the water-based side, and it's sheerer, which somebody might prefer. There are people out there like sheerer lip products. In that way, the original one is more on the pigmented side. So I think this just comes down to your preference. It's not like either of them is bad or anything. And this highlight balm, it's very nice. It's not sticky. It does dry down and it doesn't disturb my foundation, which is very nice. I like this. And I'm planning to do a like stick highlight or bomb highlight video because I'm very into them. If you're interested, you could stay tuned for that video. And that is all for today. Not super successful actually, because I do have a couple things that I'm not like absolutely love, but hopefully this is helpful for you, and thank you very much for watching. Bye.